Connection Point. So, like I said, most of you know me as Jackson. Some of you know me as the guy that carries the signs in and out with Austin. But in reality, I'm just a sinner who loves Jesus. I'm someone who misses the mark, but I love Jesus. And I'm a recovering addict, but I love Jesus. The last 16 months have been turbulent, but he's worked in my life the most in the last 16 months than in the previous 29 years. Last year, I went to 4 funerals. In the same year, I lost my job. I lost the person who I thought was going to be my forever person, someone I'd start a family with, grow old with, and then one day it just ended, right? But Pastor Mike was talking about seasons, and I think that was just a necessary season for me to go through. And I'll be honest with you guys, there are days I feel like Psalms 13, where it's like, how much longer, Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long do I need to wrestle with my thoughts? But then there are days I feel like Romans 8, where I'm like, okay, my present sufferings aren't even worth considering for the glory to come. So yes, I will. So going back to like seasons, one thing that I have learned in my 30 years of life is that seasons come and go. Some linger a little bit longer than others, but Jesus is always constant. We were talking about Jim. I'm kind of just winging it now. My goodness, Jim. So when it comes to seasons, you can do one of two things. You can pick up your cross and you can walk, or you can sit and you can sulk about it. Now, there were days that I crawled up in bed and I just felt sorry for myself. And there were, more days than not, I prayed, I picked myself up, I went to the gym, I went to jiu-jitsu, and through that, and by the grace of God, I reconnected with Jim. I've known Jim for a decade, but one thing he doesn't know is him and Pastor Mike saved my life. I don't know if either of you know, but I was at my lowest when we reconnected, and you guys took me in as your own, so I really appreciate that. Do you guys ever have like a food or anything that makes you feel like home? Yeah? When I come to Connection Point, it makes you feel like home. It's like my grandmother's sushi. If you know, you know. So I know some of you know I make music, or I've made music in the past, but for the majority of my life, like I've chased worldly things and like accolades, essentially things that have no meaning. And time again, when I take my eyes off of Jesus, I always end up empty-handed. And to me, that is emptiness. So even if you're like 2 degrees off over a period of time, that 2 degrees, it's like that. So for me at least, like spirituality is not easy for me. Like I have to practice it. I have to keep my nose in the Bible. It just doesn't come natural to me. But I know it's necessary. And just piggybacking off, and I'll wrap this up. Only Pastor Mike knows. I don't even think Jim knows this. When I went to rehab, I called Pastor Mike, and I asked him for advice because the people there, they were like, you should start a Bible study. I was like, nah, And then I prayed about it, and then I blew up Pastor Mike's phone, figuratively, not literally. And the Lord just told me to do it. And I've led people in the past, but I've never led a Bible study. And there were 25 people in the facility, the recovery center, and week over week we had 15 people show up. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was just, shooting a cannon. But I will say, what it does is even in your darkest moments, there's still light. So that's what I got from that. Connection Pointe fills my cup. You guys fill my cup. My family fills my cup. I know sometimes people here that do a lot and go above and beyond. It can feel like sometimes you're an employee, but that's the whole point of giving back to church. And that fills my cup too. With that, I love you guys. I don't know where I'd be without you.